Look, bro, I'm gonna be brutally honest with you. If you waste your 20s chasing dopamine and trying to achieve these empty victories, you're f***ed. We know men are valued for things that we have to earn through hard work, like making money, building up our bodies in the gym, having experience, having confidence, versus women who tend to be valued for things that are given to them, like their good looks or their youthfulness. But for us to achieve these things, to make more money, to level up our career, to level up our body, to get more experience, by definition, it takes a large time investment. And the fact is that once we're in that sweet spot, let's say from 18 to 28 years old, that is when we are primed to be workhorses. Our testosterone level is higher. We have more ability to quickly recover. I remember, in my early 20s, I could do a full day of work, like 12 hours of work, hit the gym, get in an insane workout, go out and get drunk with my friends, and then wake up the next day, and I'd still have the energy to bounce back and do the same thing again and again and again. I'm 33 now, and look, I'm still putting in work, but I can already tell you that in my 30s, I don't bounce back as quickly. I don't have that unlimited source of just energy and vigor every single day. Also, realize this, up until age 18, you're living the life that your family provided for you. And of course, some of us have advantages over other people, but we all live the basic same life of going to school and playing some sports. After that, it changes from the life our family provided for us to the life that we create for ourselves. And this is the point at which the path of the winners separate from the path of the losers. Also, when we're in our early 20s, we have a superpower because failure is actually okay. We don't have kids or a wife that we have to support. Our parents aren't aging to the point where we possibly need to support them as well. Generally, we don't have our own health problems yet. We're still young and healthy. Our expenses can be almost zero, right? Like we can shack up in an apartment with 2 or 3 other dudes and spend very little on rent. We can survive on the cheapest groceries and takeout food. And that's why it's critical during this time period, not just to face the fear of failure, but to fucking fail fast and fail hard. Fail as much as we possibly can. With women, man, I must have been rejected by 1,000 girls probably, and that seems ridiculous. But in my early 20s, through approaching girls on the sidewalk or at the gym or at the bar or the club or through dating apps, I probably did get rejected about 1,000 times. And who cares? Not only did that desensitize me to this fear of failure, but also I learned so many hard lessons with women and how they behave and how they act and how I need to behave and act that allowed me to be a lot more calculated and confident with women later on. How many failed careers did I have? I quit my job as a software engineer. I tried to do personal training. I quit that job, failed at that as well. I tried a podcast. This is before my newer podcast episodes that are doing quite well, but me and the homie Dave, The Beastly Gentleman was the podcast we started, and that failed. I quit that as well. I had a blog that also failed and I quit. And each of these failures not only taught me valuable lessons, but I learned valuable skills from each of these different careers and these different paths that I experimented with. Because of software engineering, things like video editing became easy for me. Through personal training, I learned the art of sales and how to effectively coach people and communicate. And it's not just that, but you also have the freedom to experiment with your location and move to different cities and see, what you like best, where you grow faster than other places. If you fail and have to move back home, you can do that. Even with my style or my hairstyles, I experimented with all different things. Because even if it looked ugly as fuck, who cares? In your 20s, failure is okay. That's the beauty of this time period. You can move fast and lean, and that's a very important reason not to settle down and buy a house. Rent. A lot of people are like,
but David, if I rent, I'm just throwing my money away. I want to have an investment.
The value of rent is you're paying to have that flexibility and that freedom. I just wanted to pay, for 6 months or 12 months at a time. And then if I decided I wanted to move somewhere else, which I always did, I had that ability. That freedom of location is one of your biggest strengths in your early 20s. You don't have to worry about your kids or your wife moving with you. Not to mention that when you buy a house, whether you know it or not, you're going to be losing money to interest. You're going to be losing money to repairs and maintenance. You're going to be losing money to property taxes each year. And also, you're not tying yourself down financially. Probably the most important thing that I did in my 20s was living below my means, because not only is that financially responsible and it allows you to grind up your treasury, your savings. At one point after I started my businesses, I had like $2 million liquid in my bank account, which maybe I should have invested some of that at that point. But the point is, you have this energy and this vigor, and you can just focus on building and grinding. There's no need to blow your money on that new Audi or that new Porsche just because you can, just because you want to impress your friends. No need to buy a bunch of designer clothes or buy that first house or rent the dopest apartment. And it's not just for the financial aspect of it, which is crucial, but it's also for the delayed gratification. By not allowing myself to splurge on these comforts, I kept my life a bit uncomfortable by definition, and that kept me hungry. It kept me in the mindset of, I am nobody, I am not shit, and I need to keep grinding. Now that I'm a bit older and I've seen years of sustained success, I have started building my dream home here in Spain. I have splurged on a couple dream cars that I've always wanted. And while I do enjoy these things, I will also tell you, when you reward yourself and your level of comfort increases, no matter what you try and do, it slightly is going to decrease that hunger level. Now, time out quick, because speaking of living below your means, Edge Lifestyle is doing a flash sale starting today that's gonna get you up to 70% off their website. This means you can pick up some dope new outfits and level up your wardrobe for an insane price. I'd recommend you grab a pair of our best-selling performance joggers or movement joggers. The main difference is the performance fabric is a little bit lighter than the movement fabric. Both are versatile everyday pants that you can take from the gym to the office to around town. And we almost never discount our joggers because they sell out so quickly, so don't miss out. I'd also take a look at our premium long sleeve Henley. Pairs perfectly with some jeans for a night out or date night. Or my personal favorite t-shirt, the Hometown TV2. Slightly relaxed fit and built from the most comfortable premium cotton fabric. Or if you're looking for a dope aesthetic gym fit, I'd recommend grabbing one of our OG tanks, and that pairs perfectly with our OG cotton shorts. We just added these items and a whole bunch more to our discount section, and because you're watching my video, I'm gonna hook you up with a coupon code that's gonna get you an additional 20% off the already discounted items. That's gonna stack to get you up to 70% off these items, but only for the next 3 days. Just go to edgelifestyle.com or click that first link in description to shop now. Now, in addition to living below my means, something else I did that supercharged my growth during this critical time period was removing dopamine. And I'm not talking about just doing nofap and quitting watching porn, because ultimately that becomes this whole dopamine cycle where you're always just craving it until you do it, then you get that release and you crave it again the next day. Like, it's a destructive habit that kills your energy, robs you of your time, and can create sexual dysfunction. Also, that's when I stopped getting high, because ultimately, again, that is just searching for comfort and that dopamine hit. Plus, it also makes you more tired and lazy, even the next day. When my friends were going out and partying, I stayed home. Sure, sometimes I'd go out for an hour or two to, focused approach girls, try and get numbers to set up dates for that week, but I'd only ever have 1 drink, 2 drinks max, so the next day I could still operate. Too many guys get lost in the sauce, going out, spending their money at bars and clubs, just doing it because that's what their friends are doing, and get caught up in this stupid cycle each weekend. I even stopped following sports teams because I realized I was getting so invested in how my team was doing that when they lost, I'd be down, or when they won, it gave me this false sense of achievement, even though I didn't achieve shit. I know for some of y'all, it's probably part of your culture and your friends and your family, but you have to unplug yourself from all this shit if you truly want to set yourself apart from other guys during this critical time period. Now, the one thing I did that was a bit of a dopamine chase, but was productive, I think, was going through my hoe phase. This is after my first girlfriend, when I decided I want to increase my body count a lot. I want to get more experience with different girls. I want to prove this to myself. And while I probably did go overboard, setting up 2, 3, 4 dates per week, especially when I was living with the homie Dave. Every night of the week, me or him had a date, or both of us, in this tiny little apartment. Led to some interesting, awkward scenarios. But if you're a guy who never proves that to himself, that is also a form of putting in work, right? You're overcoming insecurities, you're building confidence, and that transferred to other areas of my life. The point is, eventually, I matured past this phase, and I cut it down to 1 date per week, 2 dates max. And ultimately, I chose monogamy, right? I got into a relationship with Julia when I was 27, and that also leveled up my focus to another degree. So if you're a man who has proven this to himself, you have gone through your hoe phase, at that point, if you identify a potential main chick, who doesn't have red flags, and you're making that choice, well, that can also help supercharge that focus and add another layer of support. Honestly, bro, I'm still shocked how successful I've become. Not to jerk myself off, but I run multiple businesses now that generate multiple millions of dollars in revenue per year, and I never would have thought that was possible. If you told me this 5 years ago or 10 years ago, I would have told you, stop shitting me, bro. That's not realistic. And without a doubt, the most important thing I did to get to this point was having insane focus and work ethic in my early 20s. For a while, I'd wake up at 6 a.m. and from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., I'd be sitting there working on my blog, howtobeast.com. Then from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., I'd be working at home for the software job, doing consulting projects for them after I had quit. Then from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m., I'd be at the gym trying to sell new clients, just grinding my ass off as a personal trainer. None of these things individually was making a lot of money, but cumulatively, there was a couple years where I just grinded up like 80K for the year. And the funny thing is, from an outside perspective, I probably seemed like a failure until I was 28 or 29. Like a guy who didn't know what I was doing, just quitting jobs and couldn't settle down on one thing. Trying to do YouTube, just trying to make it work. But all of those failures created this like critical momentum that once I got to be 28 or 29, over the last 5 years since then, it seemed like this overnight success story, but that's bullshit. It was really the culmination of the 10 years of grinding in the darkness that happened before that. And for all my guys out there who are already in your 30s or 40s, look, it's never too late to start. You can always make the choice to start being intentional with the direction of your life, but do realize that you're starting with not a head start, the opposite of a head start. You're working from behind. You have to work even harder than these guys in their 20s because you might have some parents that you're helping take care of. You may have a wife and kids already. You may have these different bills. You may have a mortgage that you're paying. And at that point, true failure, truly going broke is not really an option. When you're in your 20s and you go broke, look, most of us have the ability to go back and move in with our parents. Like that's the worst case scenario that could possibly happen. And that's what gave me the confidence at first to quit that first software job and try what I actually wanted to do. Because worst case, there was a bit of a safety net. But that safety net, it starts to disappear the older and older you get until it's not there anymore. And then you have to move differently. You can't move as fast and as wild. By the way, big shout out to Jack Denmo. I got this video idea from him. I didn't watch his video because I didn't want it to poison me how I would think about this, but gotta give him props. He's got a dope self-improvement channel for men as well, so make sure you check that out. Now, becoming successful is most of the equation, but when it comes to women, you still need to know how to move, and that's why I recommend you watch this video next. 3 things masculine men do differently with women. Make sure you check that out, and I will see you in the next video. Stay beastly.